Key signatures give us lots of information with all their sharp and flat symbols. Let's take a closer look at them and find out what they all mean. Just for review, we know that this is called the grand staff. This symbol circled in red is called the treble clef, so those top lines are called the treble staff. And this symbol circled in blue is called the bass clef, so these lower lines are called the bass staff. The treble clef circles around a line showing us where a special G is located on the piano or other instrument or the pitch of our singing voice, so the treble clef is also known as the G clef. And here's our special F line of the bass clef showing us where a special F is located. And those fours stacked on top of one another are called time signatures. The top number fours, circled in orange, tell us there are 4 beats per measure, and the bottom number fours, circled in green, tell us that quarter notes get 1 beat. Notes with a line through the middle of their note heads are called line notes. The line note head is circled in bright pink. Notes sitting between 2 lines or just touching a line at the top or bottom of their note head are called space notes. The space notes have a green box around their note heads. Here is our treble staff. The blue line is showing us the famous G line, and I wrote the names of the notes for each line and space in little gray circles. Remember, when we need to figure out the name of a note, we just go up or down from that famous G line, 1 letter at a time for each line and space, using only the letters A through G. Then we start the letters over again. When we go up, our alphabet letters go up, but when we go down, those alphabet letters go backward. There are 2 quarter notes, one sitting on top of the other one. When there are 2 space notes touching one another like these 2 notes, they are called a third. That bottom space note is number 1, the line in between the notes is number 2, and the top space note is number 3. If we have 2 line notes with a space in between, they also touch one another and are called a third. The Do-Re-Mi making scales video showed how the Do-Re-Mi scale with its special set of whole and half steps, root, whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half, can be moved to 12 different places with the addition of sharps or flats. However, what are the names of those sharps and flats in order, and which scales use which sharps or which flats? The key signature of both the treble staff and bass staff show us the answer to this question. Let's take a look at a treble staff. Here's a treble staff with its 5 lines and 4 spaces. When it has no sharps or flats showing, it is telling us the notes will be in the key of C major. On a piano, that means all white keys. And here are those 2 notes called a third, since that A note head is sitting in the space right above that F note head space, and there is a line in between. Here's that same treble staff with 1 sharp symbol next to the treble clef sign. That sharp, and others that can be added, is called a key signature. This sharp is sharp number 1. That little box in the middle of the sharp symbol is over the top line, which is an F. So that means our F note in that bottom space will be a sharp, and all the other F notes in a song will be F sharps as well. No regular Fs. Now we see the treble staff with 2 sharps. That little box inside the second sharp symbol is placed over the third space, a C. So F is the first sharp, and C is the second sharp. So every F in the song and every C in the song will be sharped. Now we see the third sharp placed in a high G space. So every F, C, and G will be sharped in the song. And now another sharp. Sharp number 4 showing us a D line. So when we have 4 sharps in a song, they are F, C, G, and D. Now we are up to sharp number 5, and it is in the A space. So our A note in that second space is now an A sharp. In addition to F, C, G, and D, we have to sharp all the A's in a song. 2 more sharps to go. Here is sharp 6 in an E space. And now sharp 7, a B, covering that line 3B line. Here's how the treble staff looks with all 7 sharps. Now let's look at those 2 space notes again, called a third. Here we have F on the bottom and A on the top, with the famous G line in between. Let's look at another set of notes that we call a third, and they are sitting on the bass staff. This time there are 2 line notes with a space in between. Remember, on the bass staff, the letter names of the notes go down. That third line is a D, and the line below that D is a B, and the space in between those 2 notes is a C, the next C below middle C. There is no key signature showing, so we know these are both just regular notes. And here we see the 1 flat symbol. I put a little blue line on the famous F line to remind us that the 4th line from the bottom is an F. I also put the names of the lines and spaces on the left side of the bass staff as a reminder to us that those letter names on the lines and spaces go down in the bass staff. The middle of that half-heart part of the flat symbol tells us the name of the flats in the key signatures, so that first flat with the half-heart part of the symbol centered right over the second line from the bottom of the staff is a B. So, every B in a song is to be flatted. And here are 2 flats, our first B flat and our second flat, E. Now we see 3 flats, B, E, and now an A. Now the key signature is showing us the 4th flat, a D. So now not only is our B note flatted, but now the D needs to be flatted as well. Now we see 5 flats. That new flat is a G. And here are 6 flats. The new flat is a C. And now all 7 flats, and the last flat is an F. Now let's take another look at our key strip. Let's look at our sharps again using our key strip. Here's a little red arrow showing us that the F sharp is a half step up from the regular F. Now another little red arrow is showing us the C sharp, a half step up from the regular C. Did you notice that the F sharp was the first black key in the set of 3 black keys, and then we jumped up to the set of 2 black keys for the C sharp? If we count the letters from that F to C, there are 5. So F to C is called a 5th. Now we jumped back to the set of 3 black keys and sharped the next black key next to our F sharp. Our new sharp is G sharp. I think we are probably going to jump up to the set of 2 black keys for our next sharp. We did, jumped up to the set of 2 black keys. So our new sharp, D sharp, is next to the C sharp. And look, G to D is 5 letter names, another 5th between those 2 sharps. Now we jump back to the 3 black keys. Our next sharp next to the G sharp is an A sharp, sharp number 5. And now back to the 2 black key group. This time there is not a black key for the next letter name, which is E. So E sharp is played a half step up on a white key, the key that is also the plain F key. However, when there are 6 sharps, E sharp is played on the plain F key, and F sharp is played a half step up on the black key. And look, from A to E is 5 letter names, another 5th. Now back to the 3 black key group. We have run out of black keys here too, and the next letter name after A is B, and B sharp is played on the same key as the regular C. However, when the key signature says there are 7 sharps, B sharp is played a half step up from regular B, which is on the regular C key, and C sharp is played on the black key, a half step up from the regular C key. If we start on B and say a total of 5 letter names, we end up on F, already a sharp, so we are finished with all the sharps. Let's look at those 2 and 3 black key groups and find out how they work with the flats. This time we are going to go down, but we will start on the set of 3 black keys again. Going from the top down, the first flat is a B flat. Now jumping down to the set of 2 black keys, the second flat is an E flat. And if we go backwards with our letter names, there are 5 letter names from the B flat to the E flat. Looks like the same type of pattern as the sharps, only going a different direction. Now going back to the 3 black key group, our next flat is an A flat. And down to the 2 black key group, our next flat is a D flat. The little bright pink box under the keys is showing us 5 letter names again, from that A to that D. Now up to the 3 black key group again, our next flat is a G flat, and going down to the 2 black key group, oops, our C is the next flat, but there's no black key there. Need another key. Okay, here's another key, the regular B and part of a black key. Going down a half step from C, we land on the white key that is the regular B. So C flat is on a white key. Again, 5 letter names from G down to C. We are up to 6 flats. And now, our last flat, an F flat. That flat is just like that C flat. A half step down from the regular F key is on a white key. The regular E key. So F flat is on a white key, and C flat is on a white key. In our Do-Re-Mi making scales video, we lined up that Do-Re-Mi box under different sets of keys. From C to C, the pattern of whole and half steps is all on white keys. No sharps, no flats, but let's move it now. When we have sharps in our key signature, we can just go up a half step from the last sharp and we get the name of the major scale that goes with that key signature. If we only have a key signature with 1 sharp, that F sharp, and go up a half step, we land on a G. I lined up our Do-Re-Mi box under the G to G keys. Walking up with the Do-Re-Mi pattern, we did indeed have to use the F sharp in order to get that whole step between the La and Ti part of the Do-Re-Mi scale. A whole step up from E ends up being an F sharp. Now let's go to a more complicated scale. If we have a time signature with 4 sharps in it, the last sharp written to the farthest to the right in the key signature is a D sharp. If we go up a half step from our D sharp on the key strip, we land on an E. Lining up that Do-Re-Mi box again and going up letter by letter using that whole and half step pattern, we did indeed get 4 sharped notes. F, C, G, and D were all sharped. Now I'm going to show you the scale with 7 sharps. The last sharp symbol in the key signature would be for that B sharp. B sharp uses the key that is normally the C key. So going up a half step from that B sharp to get the name of the major scale, we end up on C sharp. Wow! Going from the regular C to C, we play on all white keys. Just C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and C. Going up from C sharp to C sharp, we play on the sharps of all the keys, most of the time on black keys, but also 2 white keys, C sharp, D sharp, E sharp, F sharp, G sharp, A sharp, B sharp, and C sharp. The flat key signatures probably have their own way of letting us know the names of the major scales, probably going down rather than up. The major scale with 1 flat, the B flat, is the F major scale. Counting down from the C for the C major scale, 5 letter names. And as we can see with those little red hexagons, the whole and half steps perfectly match the pattern of Do-Re-Mi. From this point on, it is really easy to know the name of the flat scale that goes with the key signature. The scale is the exact name of the next to the last flat. Let's look at a scale with several flats now. The scale shown here has 4 flats: B flat, E flat, A flat, and D flat. The flat that is next to the last flat is A flat, so that is the name of the major scale. Those little blue circles show that the do-re-mi pattern from A flat to A flat is perfect. Root, whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. All the major flat scales match the do-re-mi pattern, just like all the major sharp scales. You have probably noticed that to find the next sharp or flat, we go 5 letter names away, frontwards for sharps or backwards for flats. These 5 letter intervals are called fifths. You probably also noticed that the major scales were all a fifth apart when named in order. You probably also noticed at some time that our famous G is a fifth above our middle C, and our famous F is a fifth below our middle C. With all these patterns that use fifths, a little round graph was made called the circle of fifths. Here is my drawing of a circle of fifths. At the very top of the circle is a treble staff with no sharp or flat symbols, just the treble clef sitting on its 5 lines and 4 spaces. Under that treble staff is a triangular type of shape at the top of the circle with the words in it, C major scale. So the key signature on that treble staff that is right above it shows that it is in the key of C major, a key signature with no sharp or flat symbols. If we go in the direction of that little blue arrow and count 5 alphabet letter names up from C, we land on G. So there is a red letter G in that next triangular part of the circle. There is also a little key signature by that part of the circle with 1 sharp symbol in it. I drew another treble staff next to it in a lighter color and marked the F on that top line as a reminder that the first sharp on that top line tells us that all Fs are sharped when playing in the key of G major. Did you notice that I drew a teeny blue pointer hand near that little blue arrow? It is a reminder to use your right hand when you are counting up letters for sharps. Thumb on C, then up to the G. When we go up a fifth from the G, we have to remember that on the piano the alphabet letters just go from A to G. So when we go up from G to find the name of the next major scale name, the letters are G, A, B, C, D. And when we go up a fifth from the F to find the next sharp, the letters are F, G, A, B, C. So C is sharp number 2. In the key of D major, every F and every C is sharp. Now let's go to the flat side of this circle. I drew a teeny light green pointer hand near the green arrow as a reminder to use your left hand when you are counting letters backwards for flats. Thumbs on C, then backward down to the F, the scale with 1 flat. The flat side of the circle works like the sharp side. Just remember to say the letter names backwards. You are going to get really good at reciting the alphabet from A to G frontwards and backwards. Again, the little key signatures are beside the names of the major scales, and the flat names are on the lightly colored staffs. You may be wondering why there are 2 sets of key signatures for those bottom 3 major key names. The D-flat major scale and the C-sharp major scale use the same keys on the piano, but the keys are called by different names. Same is true for G-flat major and F-sharp major and C-flat major and B major. There are reasons why one may be used rather than the other in a song. Totally up to the person writing the song. So now you can use different methods for remembering the names of the sharps in order, the names of the flats in order, and the names of the major scales that go with those sharps and flats. Use whichever way you like the best. You did a good job. Learned a lot about music.